Hello, and welcome back to Absurd Land. If these haunting images already unsettle you, the stories behind them are far darker than you'd ever expect. Let's begin. On March 29, 1950, a fire at Philadelphia's Bella Vista Sanatorium killed 9 patients. 5 victims had been chained to concrete slabs like this one, highlighting the cruel restraint methods still used in some facilities at the time. A 21-year-old Civil War corporal who was shot in the head at the Battle of Farmville in 1865. His head injury resulted in severe mental disturbance. Tragically, many soldiers suffered similar fates, but their cases advanced the field of neurology. Orphans share a feces-stained crib at Romania's Râul Mental Asylum. This disturbing image reveals the horrific neglect suffered by institutionalized children in some facilities. A secret photograph by Charlie Lord, a conscientious objector working as an orderly at Philadelphia State Hospital, known as Byberry, in 1945. Lord was the first to expose horrific asylum conditions through photography, sneaking his camera in to document the neglect and abuse. His photographs shocked the public and helped spark reform. A psychiatric patient poses at Paris's Salpêtrière Hospital around 1876 to 1877. This famous hospital was a center for neurological research and often photographed patients to document various mental conditions. Debris covers the floor at Maryland's Crownsville State Hospital after unrest in 1949. Over 1,800 patients were crammed into a space built for 1,100 with fewer than 10 doctors. The conditions were so extreme that smaller outbursts and chaos were constant. Civil rights groups called the place inhumane. Orderlies washed patients at Long Grove Asylum in England around 1930. Basic hygiene was often handled en masse in psychiatric institutions with little regard for patient dignity or privacy. This 1890 photograph from Germany shows a woman restrained to the wall in a crucifix position. While it looks brutal today, this was a standard treatment method at the time, believed to calm patients and control their behavior. One of Dr. Walter Freeman's lobotomy patients, photographed 10 days after the procedure in 1942. Lobotomies were promoted as a cure for mental illness, but often left patients permanently damaged or in vegetative states. A prisoner at Wakefield Prison restrained in a chair with a collar and straps. Mechanical restraints like these originated in prisons before being adopted by psychiatric institutions. A complete padded cell built by Pocock Brothers between 1936 and 1970 for Farnborough Hospital. These cells were designed to prevent patients from injuring themselves during violent episodes. Patients undergo hydrotherapy at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in 1886. This treatment involves strapping patients into baths for hours or even days, with only their heads exposed. It was used to treat insomnia and depression. Early 1900s hydrotherapy involved immersing agitated patients in water tubs for hours or an entire day. The practice was thought to have a calming effect on patients suffering from various mental conditions. An 1860s ward for nonviolent women at West Riding Asylum in England. Most patients suffered from terminal dementia. The bonnets were mandatory attire, meant to keep patients warm and give the ward a uniform appearance. Greek photographer Georgi Georgiou stunned the world with photographs taken between 1999 and 2002 at various psychiatric hospitals in Kosovo, Metohija, and Serbia. His images revealed conditions that many thought had disappeared decades ago, showing the harsh reality still faced by patients in these institutions. One of the earliest photographs of phrenology from 1856. Phrenologists believed they could determine intelligence and personality by feeling bumps on a person's skull. Despite being pseudoscience, it influenced modern psychiatry and neurology. A straitjacket from the 1700s, also called a strait waistcoat. This restraint device was widely used in psychiatric institutions to control violent or agitated patients. A patient undergoes electroshock treatment in 1956. By the 1950s, electroconvulsive therapy was a common treatment for severe depression and other mental illnesses, though it remained controversial. Dr. Walter Freeman performs a lobotomy at Western State Hospital in Washington on July 11, 1949. Freeman was the most prolific lobotomist in America, performing thousands of these controversial brain surgeries with an ice pick-like instrument called a leucotomy. Doctors test a new experimental method using radio waves to treat psychiatric patients at a Paris hospital on May 13, 1938. Experimental treatments were common as the medical field desperately searched for effective therapies. Nurses forcibly hold down a patient receiving electroshock treatment at an English facility in 1946. The violent nature of these treatments often required multiple staff members to physically restrain patients during the procedure. Dr. James Shanklin administers electric shock and anesthesia as Dr. Walter Freeman prepares for a transorbital lobotomy demonstration at Western State Hospital on July 11, 1949. This procedure involved inserting an instrument through the eye socket into the brain. Dancing therapy at New York State Asylum in the 1920s. By this time, social contact like dancing became critical to psychiatric care. Dancing gave patients something to look forward to in an otherwise heavily restricted environment. Only same-sex partners could dance together to avoid outbursts among seriously ill patients. Augusta Dater at a Frankfurt mental hospital in 1901. She was the first person diagnosed with what we now call Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Alois Alzheimer studied her case extensively, documenting her progressive memory loss and confusion, leading to the disease being named after him. From Charles Darwin's 1872 book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, this photograph shows a man whose facial muscle contractions Darwin described as displaying terror and great mental distress. Darwin tried applying his research on animal expressions to identify mental conditions in humans. An opera singer performs at a New York City mental hospital in the 1920s for sound therapy. Psychiatrists believed certain sounds had therapeutic effects. The press release for this experimental treatment stated it would be watched with intense interest by alienists, psychologists, and the medical profession. Seacliff Mental Hospital near Dunedin, New Zealand, after a devastating fire on December 16, 1942. 37 of the 39 female patients housed in ward, 5 died in the blaze. The women were trapped in locked rooms they couldn't escape from, highlighting the deadly consequences of restraint practices. Christine Collins was committed to a mental hospital in 1928 after insisting the boy police claimed was her missing son wasn't actually him. Police asked her to try the boy out, and when she continued to insist, they used psychiatric commitment to silence her. This chilling abuse of power highlighted how mental institutions could be weaponized. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche in a psychiatric hospital in 1899. One of the 19th century's most famous philosophers, known for God is dead and the concept of the Übermensch, Nietzsche suffered a sudden mental breakdown in 1889 after witnessing a horse being beaten in the streets. He became erratic, wrote incoherent letters to friends, and his family admitted him to psychiatric care, where he remained fully incapacitated for the last decade of his life. New Year's Eve at Moscow's Kashchenko Psychiatric Hospital in the Soviet Union, 1988 or 1989. Even during celebrations, life in psychiatric institutions remained bleak and controlled. A psychiatric patient receives hydrotherapy at Pilgrim State Hospital in New York, 1936. David Rosenhan of the famous Rosenhan experiment in 1973. He sent healthy people with no history of mental illness to mental hospitals. The staff couldn't identify that they were actually sane, and it took some participants up to 2 months to get released. This experiment exposed serious flaws in psychiatric diagnosis and raised questions about the validity of mental health labels. The Provincial Lunatic Asylum in Toronto, Canada, in 1868. This was Ontario's first public hospital dedicated to treating mental health patients, representing early attempts at institutional psychiatric care in Canada. 2 doctors at St. Elizabeth's Hospital display their electroshock machine in 1923. Opened in 1855, St. Elizabeth's was America's first federally operated psychiatric hospital and became a National Historic Landmark. Dr. John Shaw Billings photographing a submerged skull in 1885 to measure cranial capacity, thought to influence mental conditions. The skull could only stay underwater for 45 seconds before absorbing too much water and expanding, making measurements inaccurate. This 1904 photograph by Argentinian physician Dr. F. Perez shows a section of an executed criminal's brain. Scientists believed they could identify criminality by studying brain structure, but Perez found no major differences between criminal and non-criminal brains. Inside a mental hospital in 1946. This was the era when large state institutions housed thousands of patients, often in overcrowded and inadequate conditions that would later spark major reforms in mental health care. If you enjoyed the video and want a part 2, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.